Stanley's going to go in for Nate tonight?
Yes.
Nate would be considered a healthy scratch?
Yes.
Okay. Which the reasoning or thought process?
There's, first of all, the team's given up way too many goals. We got to tighten this thing up. There's a couple of areas of Nate's game that we need him to work on. We're very clear with that to him. So, Logan gives us that big physical presence back there. This is a very big team we're playing tonight, and we needed some size back there. Logan will give us that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, Declan obviously would be an option as well, but is the physical element?
It's the size factor, yeah. They're a big team. They go to the net hard.
You had Brendan and Neil together in practice, so will Dylan and Logan play together?
Yeah, but the problem when you take Nate out, there's that right side, right? And Logan doesn't play right side. Dylan Samberg has played right side in the past, so that's really why that move is being made.
Just one on Mason Appleton. Obviously, there's a lot of depth, more than maybe ever with this forward group. I guess in your mind, why was Mason the first guy to kind of get a crack? And could we see others maybe get a look there?
We'll see. Well, we have lots of time. Unfortunately, we have too much time with that. But no, Mason has played with those guys before, and they like having a right-hand shot playing with them. And so you put those two together, and Mason's the logical guy to go up there. That doesn't mean Rasmus won't go out there at some times, but we like what we saw last year when Mason was played with those guys because of injuries. We're in the same situation this year. Again, he knows them, they know him, and having a right-hand shot there, that's important to those two guys.
He had that one season a few years ago where I think he scored 12, but his offensive numbers have never maybe popped at this level the way maybe some had thought. But do you feel that there's a little more offense there from him that we could see? Or
yeah, we're hoping to see that. We need him to go to the net. When you're playing with those two guys, you've got to make sure you're going to the net, and Gabe was very good at that. Now, Mason is Mason. We don't need him to change his game. The way he plays the game, that's how he has to play, even though he's playing with those two guys. He's reliable defensively, strong in the board, strong in the corners, but he has to get to the net for sure with those guys.
Rick, just to follow up on Logan, do you need him to show something more physical too? Because that seems to be maybe one thing that lacks in his game sometimes is him.
Yeah, but there's a danger in that. Sometimes, you say that, and if somebody they're running all over the ice looking for big hits, and now you're chasing the game. When the hit is there, make sure you're using your size and your physicality, but don't chase the game. And by that, you're running all over the ice and you're opening. It's hard to play with them. And we've talked about that. Absolutely use your strength, especially around the net, keeping guys like Stone and those guys away from the net. So it's not so much all the time just running around throwing big hits. The big hit is there, you take it. Don't go running looking for it, but more importantly, just stay around that net and making sure we're boxing those guys out, tying them up. Because again, they've got a lot of big forwards over there, and we've got to keep them away from our goalie.
Rick, you had mentioned to us yesterday, you don't put a lot of stock into what you saw in the practice skate because things were kind of fluid, but just with Gabe Vilardi coming out, though, I mean, the ripples of the impact of that on the power play units, and also with Nate coming out, is that why you kind of have gone with a 41, or it appears that you're looking at a 41 for both power play units?
Yeah, we will. With taking Nate out of there, we will. It'll be 4 forwards and a defenseman. Yeah. Yeah, but listen, the injury to Gabe, it does force all those changes, and it does. But you've got to find the solutions, and you got to try to. That's what we're trying to do. So we got to mix things up a little bit. We've got to do as a team. As I said earlier, we're giving up way too many goals. That's not our team. So we got to tighten that up. We get more committed to that, and we got to see how you're hoping that chemistry goes back to where it was last year with Vladdy and Nick, so we can spend more time in the opposition and score more goals than one. But again, that injury to Gabe forces us into those situations.
Would Rasmus still, if he's still going to be on that second power play unit, then is the trickle-down effect a guy like a David Gustafsson maybe picking up his minutes on the penalty kill?
He'll be killing some penalties for sure, but as I talked to both of them today, Rasmus takes a lot of PK faceoffs, so he's got to take some faceoffs in this neutral zone and the O zone. He's got to take faceoffs. I don't want him to go through 15 minutes of playing without taking a faceoff. Now we got to go in our zone on the right side, and he's out there taking his first faceoff. So I told them both, I want Rasmus taking a lot of faceoffs, and Gus, you line up as the right winger, and we go from there.
Just one extra on Cole. Have you had to? How have you approached him in the way that moving him to the wing? How have you kind of approached maybe coaching that? Given that, it's not like he's coming out on a high or moving away from that on a high.
He understands. He understands the chemistry that he saw. He saw what we had last year with Nick and Vladdy, so he gets that. But I talk to Cole every day, and he understands. Okay, the injury forces us to try different things, and you're being a good teammate. And he's played a lot more wing here than he has center. Clearly, he's played 3 games at center here, other than the exhibition. So for him to move to the wing is not that big a deal.
Rick, just a quick one on Gabe. You'd mentioned like Billy has gone home to family because he's out a while and it can be a lonely time. A guy like Gabe, who's just still getting to know this organization, these guys. Is there do you treat it differently? Like these 4 to 6 weeks, will he be around the team maybe a little more than take him on the road at all? Or?
Billy's in a boot, right? So there's only so much you can do. Gabe has a sprain, so our trainers can work with him a lot more. So he'll be around the team a lot more. Good. Thanks.